Continuing on for presentations, this evening we have our Director of Parks, Josh Torbeck.
Thank you, trustees. Before I start, I want everybody to know that this presentation will be put up on our website, social media, so it will be accessible for everybody. I'm going to go through the details a little quick just because it'll be up there for everybody to see, so I'll go through the first couple slides pretty quickly. Our Parks and Recreation Department manages about 150 acres of parkland. It is about 9 different properties, various different sizes and shapes. Other properties that we maintain, mow the grass, you can see listed there, other township buildings, right-of-ways, collaborative effort. All this is done, we are reimbursed by the general fund. Who we are comprised of 5 full-time employees, including myself, 2 part-time year-round employees, 9 seasonal employees, our custodians who work our events at our lodge and community center, and of course, last year we had about 40 volunteers who donated about 850 hours of their time. A lot of events and programs going on at our parks. I'm not going to go through all of them, but plenty of events at our lodge and senior center. Of course, our youth organizations playing ball, whether it's football, soccer, baseball, or softball, our summer camps, our garden tours. A lot going on, but I think there's room for more. The facilities we take care of. The Glen Carter Lodge, community center, baseball fields, softball fields, soccer fields, shelters, spray ground, tennis courts, playground, skate park. Lots of walking trails. You get the idea. There's a lot that we take care of, a lot of amenities. One of our hidden gems is our Floral Paradise Gardens, and you heard me speak about our volunteers before. Most of our volunteer hours take place in Floral Paradise Gardens. It's a treasure, and we couldn't do without them. The next 2 slides I'll kind of combine together are our 2 reservable facilities, our community center, home to our Delhi Senior group that we work very closely with, and of course our Glen Carter Lodge. Each place hosts many different events, whether it's weddings, birthday parties, showers. We're really proud of both facilities. So when I first got here, the board and Pete kind of put me to task to figure out what I could do to save the Parks Department money, what I could do to eliminate any extra spending or anything we could do. Right here you'll see a list of everything that we've done in 2 years, and it's been pretty effective, whether it's changing staff scheduling or making changes to staff, conservation areas, making more energy efficient decisions with LED. We've made a lot of changes, no changes too small, no detail was too small. We did everything we could in order to save the Park Department money. So here's probably the most exciting part, getting down to the numbers of why a park levy is needed. The Park Department passed its last levy in 2005. It was projected to last 5 years. It's on year 11. Since 2005, new park properties and non-park properties have been added to the park maintenance responsibilities. In 2013, the Senior Center, Community Center, the operations were moved to the Parks Department. In 2014, the expenses transitioned to the Parks Department. In 2013, shared services were introduced, and it was an added expense to the Park Department along with other departments as well. In order for the Parks Department to maintain our operations, we've been subsidized by the general fund. That number is approaching about $200,000 a year. The big issue with this is the fact that because of state cuts, the general fund can no longer sustain the subsidy for the Parks Department. I think that's the key part of this levy is the fact that this isn't sustainable year after year. So park levy facts, were 0.54 millage, which would provide an additional $240,000 a year to the Parks Department. I think the next one's a key number. The annual cost per 100,000 home would only be $18.90. It's not a lot. It's a 5-year levy, and it's important to realize this is an operational levy. This is not for capital improvements. Capital improvements will still be done through TIF, and when we speak of capital improvements, we're talking about roads, buildings, improvements of that nature. Those, playgrounds or things like this. This is just an operational levy. So in addition to being, getting, out of the general fund as far as being subsidized, what else would the park levy provide? I think among ourselves within the department and heard the community, one of the things they'd like to see is our parks to be as secure and as safe as possible. And the first thing you see on there is the park resource officer. This would be a collaborative effort between the Parks Department and the Delhi Township Police Department, providing a uniformed officer in the park about 8 months a year, 7 days a week, to offer anything from customer service to more safety, security. I mean, when I envision this position, I envision someone tossing football, with the kids, and then at the next day he's helping to give directions or offer advice on where to go. This is somebody who would really be within the community, a face that people would come to get to know. The solution is it saves the parks a ton of money moving this direction. If we were to ask for this detail without the solution, it would cost about $30,000 more than this actual solution. The second thing we kind of pointed out as a need within the parks was more activities, programming, and events. We got a taste of that this year with the bicentennial events. People love coming out to the park. This gives us the ability to give them more reasons to come out to the park, to offer more staff in order for us to provide concerts, movie nights, festivals, events, programming. This gives us the ability to hire the staff in the evenings to give someone around, have someone around to help with these certain events. The next one you'll see on there is increased assistance to Delhi seniors and help offset facility costs. Right now we have a great senior group with a great leader, Burke Brothers. We don't know what the future holds, but right now we're in no condition to take over if she were ever to step down and no one was able to step up. This gives us the ability to put someone in position to take over, to help programs, help run the facility. This kind of secures the future for the seniors in the senior center. Without this, we wouldn't have anybody, we wouldn't be able to staff that and have someone step in if need be. And of course, the last point was what I've talked about is getting out of that subsidy from the general fund, which truthfully is not sustainable. Any questions from the trustees?
Trustee Oswald?
Yes, just to clarify on that park resource officer, I mean, we've used several terms, whether it's a park ranger, but ultimately it's going to be a sworn officer from the police department, correct?
Yes.
He's going to have arrest power. And is he going to have the same uniform as Delhi Police or a different uniform while he's...
Same uniform. There's probably some small details, but as far as something as a uniform, it'd be the same.
Okay. So he reports to our police department, but it'll be under the parks budget?
It would be a collaborative effort between the two departments. We'd pay about $40,000 of it, and the police would pay whatever left in the benefits. The other months of the year that he's not in the parks, that person would be out in the community patrolling, whether it's the business district, with economic redevelopment, anything that may go on. Not only will we have extra safety and security in the park, but we're talking about extra safety and security in the community as well.
Right, and when you describe them, playing catch or whatever, I mean, that's a rosy picture, but ultimately there's a lot of vandalism. He's going to be looking for that, more safety.
Well, hopefully, yes. We have someone there to take care of that issue if it arises, but hopefully, with his added presence, it stops before it even begins.
Right. Okay.
Trustee Sturts?
I don't have a question, but just for the public, can you please explain how the paving and everything and who paid for that? Because some people are saying, why do we need a levy if we just spent all this money, please?
Well, the levee's strictly operational, and the pavement, beautiful, is done through our TIF funds. That's two totally separate funds. They aren't related other than, they're both township funds. I don't know if Pete wants to talk. I can tell by the...
Well, just to clarify, the TIF funds is what we are using to build the new firehouse with. It's what we use to replace our police cars. It's what we use to put on a new roof. It's what we use to pave the roads. That is what the TIF fund can be used for. It cannot be. It cannot pay for $1 of salary or benefits. Nothing. So, and it can't really go for everyday, day-to-day operational stuff either. So that when we say that, the paving project purely, was TIF funded, there's no way the park funds could have even paid for that to begin with, since they're already, into the general fund by almost 200,000. So yes, this is not to do those kind. Now, it's not to say that this fund that they can't use to help buy more mulch and help buy a little more planting beds and small, I wouldn't even call those capital items. Those are still really maintenance items. But no, it would not be, this levy would not be used to do major capital projects such as paving.
Thank you.
I think the one concern everyone has expressed to me about the park has to do with security. And it's not particularly that security now in the park is poor or bad. We have had some pretty nasty incidents, that's for sure. But if you take a look around our community and our communities that border us, we're kind of protecting ourselves for what not only is, but more of what could be. So the park resource officer, if for those of you who are familiar with a school resource officer, if you see them around in the schools, it's a joint cooperation between the school district and the police department. The park resource officer will be that same type of joint arrangement between the parks department and the police department. So during the time of winter, when we don't really have a need in the park, we will have an extra set of boots on the street in Delhi, which is something that, we've looked at many times for funding. So the ability to put a real officer that's sworn and armed in our park is a good way to protect our future in those parks. Now, we talked about the fact that the parks is borrowing from the general fund. We're subsidizing the parks. We're very fortunate in Delhi because our police department and our fire department stand alone in their expenses based on their levy money. But and you're kind of accustomed to the fact that this comes up every 5 years, and we take a look at the finances and we determine the need going forward. The parks has not had a levy renewal of any kind, additional funding, since 2005. Now, since that time, and I think, Josh, you pointed out the number of acres that we've added to the responsibility of the parks, including the senior center. So that's kind of where we are, because the general fund is no longer receiving the type of revenue that it did 2 years ago, a year ago. It keeps going down. So if our income, so to speak, keeps going down, but yet we have to try to let the parks be subsidized from that fund, it's going to get tighter and tighter. So giving Josh all the credit for the fact that he has worked the parks and the finances along with the FAB members and really has drilled down this number so that what we are presenting is bottom line operational. There is no Taj Mahal in the plans. It is purely keeping our parks the way you like them to be. And part of the parks is always, we want to deal with not only the tot lots and the kids and the programs for the kids, but we also have our seniors. And we want to provide them the best events, the best facility that we can, and they are under the Parks Department as well. So, thank you, Josh. I think we have one citizen's comment tonight regarding the park levy. Russ Brosey, if you'd like to come up now. We have done this before on a citizen's comment that is really relative to a presentation. We'll take it right away so that we can kind of all keep our minds on the park.
Thank you. And I want to congratulate Josh. He is great to work with. We worked on the senior center, different things, and he's just a great guy. He really helps us a lot.
Thank you.
I am for this park levy. It is great. It helps everyone. Kids, children, grandparents, grandkids, everybody gets help in this levy. So nobody gets left out. Even the seniors get help. You're going to have better activities in the park. You're going to have an officer in the park. You're going to have ball games in the park where people can sit and watch the game. You're going to have grandparents going there. So this helps everybody. The biggest thing is we need money to put the levy through. And told Josh that we will help raise money. We need money for signs and for other stuff in the parks to pass this levy. And like you said, the levy is only $18.90 a year per 100,000. No one pays their taxes yearly, do you? You pay every 6 months. So now it's only $9. $9, 6 months. That's what, two Bud Lights? So you get your parks paid for. It's only $9 every 6 months. So this is a great deal. I'm 100%. Seniors are behind this. Everybody's behind this. But if you want make donations to the park levy, call me at my office. It's 347-9433. We'd be glad to take the donations to help pay for everything that we need for the parks. This is a great, great deal. So make sure that you get interest in this. If you need signs in the yard, let us know. Also, if you need the help on the levy, we need to pass out door hangers and everything else. So we got to push because we only got 61 days left.
Okay.
So thank you for the time.
Thank you, Russ. Are you going to have maybe a volunteer meeting or something that you can keep us up on?
Yes, we're meeting next Wednesday where we'll talk about details such as that.
Okay.
And we'll get that out to everybody.
All right. And how about social media?
We're going to start hitting everything very hard with social media and getting the word out. I would say in the next week or so, you'll really start to see us hit
Okay.
everything very hard as far as
So
marketing.
when we see that come through, make sure that all of us share with our friends the information about the park levy. That'd be great. Thanks.